just right up till the point of like catching it, like putting my arms around the defender. Those last like second or two, I couldn't see it. I had an idea and I put my hands there and it connected, with my hands and kind of his back. There's a lot of luck. You don't see catches like that too often. I've never done something like that. I'll probably never be able to replicate it. So it was really cool.
Here come the Irish. What a run! Touchdown! Play of the year for the Irish.
Welcome to the Indy on NBC Podcast presented by Salesforce. I'm your host, Corey Robbins. Congratulations, we escaped. 35-32. Number 20, Notre Dame beat Navy. And this is, Notre Dame improves to 7-3. Now going into the actual game itself, it was one of those scenarios in which the first half looked dominant. Second half, I would use the word flailing. There were moments the offense they ran 20 plays. Just let that sink in for a second. 5 plays in the third quarter. There were, at one point, a graphic came up. This is kind of like the moment where I was starting to get a little nervous because a graphic came up and said, against blitz, 2 sacks. Against Notre Dame's, offense had 2 sacks. And then the same graphic came up. Nothing else changed in the graphic. And I was like, why did they put the same graphic up? Like, the conversions are the same, like the yards are the same. Nothing changed. But then at the very bottom, it said 5 sacks. And that was kind of the whole second half. It was kind of just waiting, hoping that that Navy would run out of gas. It came down to this spectacular 2-minute drive. I want to give Navy a lot of credit here because what they did at the very end, I think it was an 11-play drive. This was within 2 minutes-ish, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It was towards the end of the game. No timeouts. This is a team that had, at that point, rushed for over 270 yards on the ground, right? Less than 100 yards passing, and they have to run a 2-minute drill to get within a field goal range of a Notre Dame team that put up 35 points in the first half. You know how hard that is? Just like that is almost impossible with no timeout to be a running team to do that. They somehow went down the entire field and scored. It was interesting because they did an idea where first they started doing like free access throws on the boundaries, getting 8-yard pickup, 10-yard pickup, 12-yard pickup, moving the chains that way, just taking what Notre Dame's defense gave them. But then they started running the ball and getting 10 yards of pickup, 8 yards of pickup, 12 yards of pickup. But normally that's a bad idea because the clock keeps running, right? But they would immediately get to the ball and spike it, stop the clock. And so essentially you're working with 2 downs instead of 3 downs in a 2-minute drill. But Notre Dame's defense didn't have any answers for that. So it was like a really fascinating, innovative idea that I was like, man, I can't believe they just ran a 2-minute drill running the ball with no timeouts and scored and got the 2-point conversion. But Matt Salerno recovered the onside kick, and it was a really interesting moment because that was Notre Dame's fate was in the balance, and he attacked the onside kick right after it was off the kicker's foot and into the game. Now, with all that said, I'm out of breath. Let's hear someone else talk. Braden Lenzy had an amazing, remarkable catch. I mean, bold line, amazing catch. It's very difficult to do this, and he's very humble. So when we talked about it, he kind of downplayed it. But I just want to make sure you understand how the difficulty of this catch, to be able to jump over someone, pin it against their body, and then secure the ball without any issues. Like it was almost seamless. 37 yards down the field and score a touchdown. I mean, that is a very hard thing to do. And he tells us what he saw on that route. He told us about Victory Meal today because we're recording this on Sunday. And he told us about his obsession with film. Without any further ado, here's Braden Lenzy. It is now my great joy to welcome Braden Lenzy into the podcast. We got to start with that catch, Braden. I mean, people have been saying, is that the catch of the year? People have been, I mean, it's kind of an amazing moment. So maybe could you just walk me through when you were running that route? Did you even see the ball?
Yeah, so I saw it originally, and just right up till the point of like catching it, like putting my arms around the defender. Those last like second or two, I couldn't see it. I had an idea, and I put my hands there, and it connected, with my hands and kind of his back. And once I had a good grip with my right hand, I just pulled it out. It was a lot of luck, and it was, a good throw, and it was great. I'm happy.
What was the reaction from all your teammates on the sideline? What were they saying to you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was, really surprised. Like you don't see catches like that too often. I myself was shocked. It was just kind of, one of those things you see. You're like, whoa, like, I don't know. It was a really cool moment.
When you think about, because I was a receiver too, so when you think about your favorite catches of your career, can you maybe, where does this rank for you in your whole career, not just in college?
I mean, probably first. I would assume. I'm trying to think, unless I've had a game winner at any point. In high school, maybe there was a catch against the Lake Oswego. But other than that, this was probably number one, just because I've never done something like that. I'll probably never be able to replicate it. So it was really cool.
What happened in that game in high school?
Lake Oswego was the first team in the state. It was early in the year, and we had a game-winning drive, and I ran a corner route, and it was a really cool play for us, and it was a really big moment for the team, and so that's probably one of the other big catches I've had in my career.
So yeah, I mean, it was. I think not just you were shocked. I think a lot of us were just like, "What just happened?" So it's always great to kind of hear your perspective, since you were running those routes and catching the ball. So help me understand where the offense is right now, as far as being situated. You're 7-3, 10 games in. It seems like everything's really starting to roll. How would you describe the flow on the offensive side?
Yeah, Coach Freeman says it a lot, and I'll just echo what he says. It's a very offensive and defensive line driven program. So on the offensive side, that's the O-line, and they're taking care of business. I feel like each game they're getting better and better. We've really found an identity running the ball between Audric, Logan, and Chris. They're all so dynamic and different. It gives a great compliment to each other. And we've just been finding those roles, and we got Mike Mayer, and we've got some dudes on the outside, and everyone's kind of contributing and finding their ways. And Drew's in his rhythm, and we're behind him. We're all just really excited, and it's been a lot of fun. We had some bumps, but it's really kind of shown the character of the locker room. A lot of teams, I think, they would put their head down, but I think there's no quit, and I feel like each week we look at with just one goal, and it's just that game. And I think it says a lot about a program when, you can do that week in, week out.
When I thought about this offense, like week 1, week 2, week 3, the question was always like chemistry, and you always like develop, at least in my experience, chemistry as a team doing stuff off the field. Are there any like incredible moments or like traditions or things that you guys do as a position group or as a team, or that you've kind of instituted recently to build chemistry?
I'd say just in the receiver room, just because Coach Stuck, he's really into movies and film. And I myself also am. I love TV, love film. So a lot of us, we always have arguments, favorite TV shows, favorite movies, and all that. And I think we're probably going to see the new Black Panther as a receiver group. So that's kind of, I wouldn't say like our thing, but that's something we all like to talk about a lot. It's like a big interest of all of ours. So it comes up a lot.
Who has the best movie taste in the receiver room?
I don't know. I would like to say myself, but like if I weren't to choose myself, I feel like Connor Radigan would know some good movies. I feel like even though he's with the quarterbacks a lot, I feel like Greg Maley would be a really good choice. Yeah, those two, they seem like they're some movie buffs.
So let me just pick your brain a little bit, because I too love movies and I watch like a lot. So give me your favorite. What are your favorite genres? Who are your favorite directors?
Ooh, I'm not gonna go to the extent as directors, but I can go like movies for genres. Actually, I have a list right on my phone right here.
What? Okay, great. You keep it handy. How often does this argument come up where you got a list on your phone that you just pull out?
Not too often. I just have it just to kind of remind myself. Okay. Yeah. My my favorite, actually, yeah, my favorite like sleeper movie, like, and I feel like everyone like should watch it, or like if they watched it at one point, they would appreciate it more now, is The Girl Next Door. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. It's like it's a rom-com, but it's like deeper than that. It's not like just like a normal one. It's really, really good. And so I recommend that. That'll be my one.
Wow, okay, yeah, that's awesome. Did you want to go into film, or did you want to be an actor or a director or something?
No, I just like watching TV, movies. It's a hobby of mine, but I don't think I have the skills to go down that route. But it's an interest of mine.
You never know. So I know that when you win, you have victory meal, and this is just a really, I think, a great tradition. But can you kind of break down for everyone listening what exactly, what does victory meal entail after a big win?
Yeah, it's changed through the years, but for the most part, I love victory meals. So we get lobster sometimes, we get crab legs sometimes, and then normally it's a cut of steak. So it's a ribeye, T-bone, whatever it may be. A little surf and turf action. And then you get like appetizers like mozzarella sticks, mini corn dogs, all stuff like that. It's good times and everyone's in a good mood. And especially this year, we're in the building a lot more on Sunday, just because the practice structure is different. And so now we're all here, and it's a good day, especially when you win. So yeah, it's fun and it's a celebration.
So Braden, can you break down what exactly happens on Sunday? Because we're actually recording this. Normally we record on later in the week, in the midweek, but today we're doing on a Sunday for scheduling. Could you just kind of tell what happens on Sundays?
Yeah. So you come in, you have to check in at whatever that time may be. You have to come in and get treatment, depending on like number of snaps played. And then, certain people get massages. If you played a lot, get your body right. Just, trying to do anything they can to get the rest of the week started. And then, you kind of have a little gap where you can, do whatever, maneuver around. You can go and take a nap, whatever that may be. And then we have, victory meal. You have to be checked in by 3:15. So it's kind of like a lunch, not really breakfast, but it's like a later lunch, big meal, obviously. And then we just kind of go right back into it. So we review the game as a team, and then we go into ST and then positions, and then we have a unit meeting. And this year it's a bit different than the past. We're going like a little shorter practice. A lot of it's just kind of review, get our legs moving, get the lactic acid out, and just kind of get some corrections, watch the game and then flush it, and then move on to the next. We can kind of get all of Monday off and then come in Tuesday with a different mindset. And I think that's probably why we've, been able to endure, some of the situations that we've had this year, because we're able to flush it and then go into each week attacking on Tuesday.
How important is it to just flush it, as you're saying?
I think it's very important. I think in every aspect in life, I think you have to, appreciate the good and the bad at the same level. I think you have to, just kind of keep your head down, keep going. A lot of the time, it's really easy to, get upset or, fold when things are getting hard. And that's just not who we are. And that's not what Coach Freeman preaches. And I think that's really been shown this year. I'm proud of everyone. I'm proud of this university.
This podcast is presented by Salesforce Customer 360, the world's #1 customer relationship management platform. At work or on field, teamwork leads to amazing things. Unite your marketing, sales, commerce, service, and IT teams around a single shared view of every customer so that you can work together and wow at every opportunity. Learn more at salesforce.com/customer360. Well, coming up, you got Boston College, and it's senior day. So what is the magnitude of senior day for you? And like, because I never got to do a senior day technically, because I didn't play. My senior year, I was a coach, so I never got to that whole experience. Yeah. What is the magnitude of a senior day at Notre Dame?
I think huge. Just because you come up and you watch so many of the old guys graduate and go through this process. I remember watching Chris and Chase, Miles, all these receivers before me, do the same thing. And then next thing you're up there and you're like, wow, like, and even for myself, I'm doing it a second time now. So it's even more, I'm like, all right, like, this is really it. That's, so you take it all in, and it's, it's a little sad, but I've been really appreciative of everything. And, I'm just going to try to enjoy the atmosphere and, be with my family, be with my friends, and just, get a win and enjoy the day.
When you think about your first senior day, and you're there with your family. What was that conversation like? I guess when you got back home and after the game, you're like, okay, I got to talk to my mom, I got to talk to my dad, or I got to talk to my family was there with me. What was their reaction to seeing you in that moment? Watching you, it could be the final time. I know it's your second, but watching you go through that in the middle of the field.
Yeah, I just think they're proud. I came from Oregon. My mom is originally from Indiana, and so it was really cool because in college, choosing to go to Notre Dame, a lot of my family who had never really seen me play kind of had the ability to see me play, and my parents are lucky enough to be able to travel. So I've had a lot of family at a lot of my games through the years, and I just think everyone's just happy to be together, and it's one of those things where it's like a reason for everyone to get together. It's really difficult, obviously, I'm sure you're aware, like in adult life to, just link up because everyone's busy and everyone has their own obligations. But this is kind of an opportunity for a lot of us to get together, a couple times in the fall. And I think everyone appreciates that. And I know I do. And, I love having my family around, and it makes the whole experience a lot more worthwhile.
So you mentioned this is your second senior day. It's a great tradition, but I'm curious, what other Notre Dame traditions? You've been on campus for a long time now. What other Notre Dame traditions do you love?
I love the in the God Quad, you're not supposed to like step on the grass, and then like you aren't supposed to walk up the steps to the Golden Dome building like until you until you're done or you have your degree, or else you like won't graduate. I always liked those. I thought it was funny, and I stuck to it, and luckily I graduated, so I've officially walked up the steps, and I'm good. But yeah, so I always thought that was a funny tradition. And I don't know exactly when they are. I actually think it's about to happen, or it happened. It's nice. So it's happening tonight, maybe the winter snowball fight, like the first snow or whatever. Like people, like it's something like that where people are like snowball fighting. I did it like when I was a freshman, I was a sophomore. I haven't done it in a while, and I think I'll do it this year just since I'm a fifth year, and I want to do it one last time, kind of have some fun.
Yeah, I remember that first time I was in early enrollee, and I'd never really seen lived in snow, and that was like my first week on campus was that winter snowball fight. I have very fond memories. It was like a crazy experience for me. Do you remember that first time that you did it freshman or sophomore year?
No, not particularly. I do remember the winter vortex was very strange because we couldn't leave our building for more than, they said if we were outside for more than 5 seconds, we could get frostbite or 5 minutes. I don't know. It was something ridiculous, but we had to stay indoors for essentially a day because it was so cold.
Wow. Yeah. No, thank you.
I'd never experienced anything like that, and I don't think I ever will again. But at least I hope.
I'm curious, Braden. Before we wrap up and get to a lightning round, what do you want to do post football?
I'm not fully sure yet. I think I'm leaning more towards the marketing route. I just don't know where I would enter into that. So I think my first idea would probably be sales or consulting out of college, NFL, whatever that may be. Probably just to gain experience, especially in a development or a graduate program, through a company. I think a lot of that it's very diverse. I probably work in a bunch of different areas, figure out kind of my niche and kind of build off there. So that's where my mind's at right now. But I don't have any direct plan or idea locked in yet.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It took me years to figure it out for myself.
It's stressful. It's hard figuring it out.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? So now it's time for the lightning round. You ready for this? Basically, the way it works is it's fill in the blank, right? So I'll throw something at you, and then whatever comes to mind, say that thing. Kind of like first reaction type stuff,
All right. Okay.
Okay. Ready? Blank is my sports role model.
Kobe.
I gotta ask why. I mean, Kobe's, he's Kobe, but why?
Yeah, my dad worked with him for a long time, so I'd always, really liked Kobe, and I'd met him a couple of times, and just always was, like everyone, just fascinated by the way he played. It was just cool, and it's Kobe. Who didn't like watching Kobe growing up? So I always thought it was cool, and especially him battling through injuries. As a sports fan, when you could visibly see him always hurt and playing through it, everyone appreciated that, and especially that brand of basketball. It's what I grew up watching, and it's appreciated forever. So yeah, definitely Kobe.
Wow. So blank is on my sporting event bucket list.
World Cup.
Blank is what I listen to at the gym.
Alternative music.
My pregame routine meal is blank.
Steak, mashed potatoes.
And blank has been my favorite moment during the season.
Ooh. Oh. I'm actually not sure on the top of my head.
It's a hard one. I mean, it's a hard one. You can take TBD.
Ooh, I actually had to think of that. That is really tricky. Probably Ben Morrison's pick six against Clemson. That was a really cool stadium moment. That was really fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it was hard to beat that.
Yeah. Well, I was struggling. What am I thinking for?
It's all good. It came to you, and that was a special one. Thank you so much, Braden, for taking the time, man. Really appreciate you. Best of luck this weekend on your second senior day and whatever you do post-grad.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Make NBC Sports Predictor a pregame ritual every week. Play Irish Pick'em for free and have a chance to win $10,000 each week. Rush the end zone and download NBC Sports Predictor app today on the App Store and Google Play Store. Thank you, Braden. Yes, this is an interesting moment because senior day is always, always very special. Boston College at home. The thing I want to draw to your attention here is just kind of zoom out. Boston College, USC. Notre Dame has undoubtedly one of the best special teams unit. And Braden said that during the interview, ST, that's what ST means, special teams. One of the best special teams units in the country. The punt team has been unbelievable. The punt block team has been unbelievable. The defense is starting to get turnover after turnover after turnover. And we heard this weeks ago in the podcast. Now it's coming to fruition. The offense is starting to gel. Drew Pine is cooling down. If you look at him in the spring game, when earlier in his career, you could see so much more bravado, so much more Conor McGregor, who he really, like the way he carries himself on the field, that confidence and swagger. He's told us that Conor McGregor is one of those people that he looks up to in that regard. You can start seeing more of an Ian Book type of calmness, that zen, and it's starting to penetrate the entire offense. The offensive line is getting better and better and better. At the beginning of the year, a little scary. Now it's starting to get incredibly well-oiled. So moving forward, the way that I look at these next two games and the bowl game would be, what does next year look like? Now, that's an interesting question. So reframe this season in that kind of mind, the last two games moving forward. Because remember, when Marcus Freeman inherited this team, it was the bowl game against Oklahoma State. And we thought, okay, that's not a great start. And then Ohio State, not a great start. Marshall, not a great start. So that was the three games to start Marcus Freeman's era. Now let's think about these three games to end that first season and look ahead. We'll be back next week with reactions to the matchup versus Boston College and preview Notre Dame's final game next week, the big one versus USC, one of my favorite all-time rivalries, and another episode of this television series, USC Notre Dame, goes way back. Be sure to download and subscribe to the Notre Dame on NBC Podcast on the NBC Sports YouTube channel and wherever you get your audio podcasts. Go Irish!